watch what is going to happen in this 2027 election. And I've seen it, and I've said it in Rivers. I met you come out to say election has been rigged. Let these people not vote. I am telling you, let nobody make a mistake. If anybody is counting Rivers, go now and cancel it. The only person that can count Rivers is Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I'm not talking because I'm talking as a political realist. I am talking because my people know. You see, the point is what you should ask. But once you build confidence in people, but once people trust you, people know that anything you tell them is likely to happen. And you don't go to government without carrying people along. Nobody can say today as a minister of FCT, even as a minister of FCT, that Rivers people don't feel the impact. No, certainly not.
Rivers, rivers, rivers. Now, these comments are coming just yesterday in Abuja during the minister's media chat, and they've sent social media into a frenzy because the minister was unambiguous in his statements that Rivers is signed, sealed, and delivered for Tinubu, and that anyone even thinking about the state is wasting their time. Now, this is coming on the heels of the current governor, Sim Fubara, now back in Wike's camp, but as the leaders in power plot over electoral outcomes, the big question is, what do the people have to say about all of this? And we'll get into what the people are saying. But first, let me say good morning to my people, the morning show people, Rufai, Ayo, and Dr. Abati. Good morning. Good morning. Great to be with all of you this morning.
Good to see you.
Yes, and a lot of stories today. So we'll take the first reaction on X from Fest, who says, these are statements that motivate voter apathy. The audacity. As always, nothing wrong with democracy, but a lot wrong with politicians who have no regard for rules of engagement and people who aren't holding them accountable. Then Ayo Joy Boy says, Wike is openly telling Rivers people their votes only matter if they go to Tinubu. This is how confident they are in the system. Democracy is an intensive care at this point. And that last point of that tweet really stood out to me. I mean, is democracy in Nigeria essentially in the ICU?
No, we don't want to promote that. It's not in the ICU. Keep hope alive. I'll ask anyone. That's what I'm saying. I'm keeping hope alive. I don't need a second argue, but I want to maintain because, like you said, or one of the ex-users had said, what we don't want is to promote or induce voter apathy. At the end of the day, every time, or for anyone who chooses not to go to the polls to exercise their franchise, you give an opportunity for it to be easy to rig the process. And that's why I encourage everybody, whether during the Osun elections, which is the closest to us in August, and then the bigger elections come January of 2027, go out there and vote. Now, to Minister Wike's point, I'd like to ask everyone to refer to Dr. Abati's statement earlier today. I thought he gave quite very sound advice to the FCT Minister himself, and also just an analysis of the state of play currently. But let me say something. What he was doing is what we call mind games. It's political big speak. It is psychological warfare. It's almost akin to what boxers do before a boxing match, where you come out and say, I will finish him, I'll kill him, you're this, you're that. And then it is an attempt to weaken the psychological nature of the person who is their opponent in the ring. What you must not do is to take that in as fact or allow it to then determine your reaction or your actions or reactions based on what he has said. Minister Wike can make claims that he wants to make. He can say all manner of things. But at the end of the day, he has one vote for one man. Mm-hmm. It is the Rivers people, the people of Rivers State, who ought to and who should and who will determine who emerges as winner in that presidential election. Yes, you can have political influence, can have your political structure, but every human being was born with a brain, and everybody has that one thing that they have a right to, freedom of choice. Mm-hmm. The right to exercise that is your prerogative. So if you decide to give it to somebody else, then that's on you. And that's why I believe that a lot more sensitization, voter education, awareness, sensitize, right from primary school or right from our educational system should educate the citizens on the power that they hold and the will. So irrespective of what comes out of political actors in this, state of we own everything, you would be able to counter that we actually know you can still mobilize depending on who you want to vote for at all. Then the other part of it is that all these things I'm saying around one man, one vote, your vote matters, has to be backed by action by INEC themselves. INEC has to demonstrate to the people that they are ready to ensure a free, fair and credible election where every single vote matters and where they leave little or no room to opportunities for rigging or taking or hijacking the process by political actors. This is what Nigerians are asking for. If that is in place, then anybody can come. I can come on TV today and say that nobody owns Lagos State. It is the family of the Thompsons that own Lagos. That's me saying that. So but also, then the final point on this is responsibility of political actors as well. Like the last ex-user said, unfortunately, we are not yet in the place or position as a people where our sense or level of political activity or knowledge is heightened. And so a statement like that can mislead people or implicate you. Now, is there something that you know that we don't know? Is there anything that you're doing that we are not aware of that it goes against what should be a proper political process? So he has to take responsibility for his speeches because of the influence that he wields.
Right. Rufai, you counter?
Ayo, yes. I want to counter all the things you have said. And with due respect, I understand your point of view. We need to give them confidence. And Dr. Batito, I want to counter what you said earlier. But with due respect, Wike is right. Rivers, go and write it down, will go to President Tinubu in the next election. Mark today down. Wike is not saying what he has not done. He's saying what he has done. You know me, I'm from the school of thought of brutalism. We're laughing, we're I even like brutalist buildings. Go back to 2023 election. The BBC wrote a report of the mystery of the altered result in a disputed poll. And they did a deep dive into an investigation into the Rivers State results. Based on what the BBC counted, Obi was supposed to get about 200,000 votes. President Tinubu, a little more than half of that. The results declared in the state capital, President Tinubu ahead of that. This is me reading from the BBC here that we have found an increase of over 160,000 votes in Mr. Tinubu's official declaration when compared to our polling units. Apart from the BBC, the what is it called? 2023 election, Tribune picked it up. I will be defeated Tinubu in Rivers State and all of that. There's been many stories as regards this. And when a man says that, you say he's just bluffing. Secondly, this was the same man that went ahead to say that across all the levels, even Fubara that vied for position in Rivers State, he bought tickets for all of them. That one is not proof enough for you. Third proof, when Fubara made a maladjustment, they went ahead, declared state of emergency, told him to go on holidays. Where were the Rivers people then?
So we should not do anything.
They couldn't say anything. No, I'm not saying don't do anything. No.
Yeah.
I'm saying what is a fair company. See, we keep saying we don't want voter apathy. But when we say that, we say it as if we think Nigerian people are dumb. There's already voter apathy because they know that what we are doing is a charade already. So with due respect, he's not saying what he cannot do. He's saying what he will do. And we can take a bet on it. I'm not a betting man. If President Tinubu does not read Rivers 2027 election, let's take a bet on it.
No, we are doing journalism. We are not a group of gamblers.
No, we are doing the right thing, Doctor. We are telling them the truth. That's journalism.
As journalists, we don't gamble.
We can take a bet on it if you want.
We just analyze the issues as they are. And I like to say that the first question to ask is who is Nyesom Wike in Rivers State politics? To the best of my knowledge, he's just like any other person who is qualified to vote. And as has been pointed out, he has just one vote. He's not in a position to predict or to announce ahead of the fact what the outcome of that election will be. He cannot sit in August 2026 to say that President Tinubu is going to take all the votes in Rivers State, and those who are already calling the election in Rivers State for any other candidate, that they should go and cancel that because it will not happen. He doesn't have that authority. So he's just embarked on a trip of delusion.
Yeah.
And his delusion should be called out for what it is. The only body that is recognized under the laws of Nigeria to declare election results when it takes place is INEC,
right?
Not any other body. And the point about voter apathy, I don't think that this should translate into voter apathy. The people of Rivers State, the voting population of Rivers State, has no obligation to answer to Nyesom Wike. They have the right as citizens, and they have the right to insist on their rights as citizens, and to go out on election day and make their own informed choice. That's what the electoral process is all about. And the electoral body must give them the opportunity to go out and vote and have their say. And any other person, whether it's Wike or his agents or anybody that seeks to violate that process, should be called to question. And that is why INEC itself has been asking for a National Electoral Offenders Commission. So that people who have the kind of delusion, the kind of megalomania, the kind of arrogance that Wike has demonstrated can be called to order. Because this democracy, the duty that we have as citizens is to be vigilant and to defend it. Anybody who says anything to the contrary should be called to question.
To question, to order, all very valid points. You know, one person, one vote, and that's what everyone really wants to see. So let's now turn to the sharp message directed at Aso Rock from a Catholic priest, Monsignore Obiora Ike, who's accusing people around President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of protecting him from the realities on the ground. Now, the priest made these comments in an interview that's absolutely going viral, where he responded to the criticism Archbishop Emeritus Cardinal John Onayekan received from the president's team after last week's meeting between the president and religious leaders. Let's watch.
How can Nigerians be abandoning their country? And the president and the leadership, political leadership, is saying, let us manage, things are hard everywhere. That is not why you are there. You are not just a political leader. You have also a moral responsibility to address the issues of countries. And if you say it's overwhelming, then resign. If people who work for the presidency or work for government or work for even other institutions peddle in lies, in pretense, in fiddling while Rome burns, in not giving good advice, it doesn't turn out good. And to act like an attack dog for great people who are patriotic for our country is something that is not only unfortunate, it is a disgrace. And it's not about defense, it's about listening. People in positions of power must listen, and listening makes you stronger.
And let's be clear here. Monsignore Ike is not saying that President Tinubu isn't trying. He explicitly said that he's doing his best, but his message is resonating with a lot of Nigerians who have this lingering feeling that their lived experiences are totally different from that of the people in this administration. And it's a similar sentiment that's also being laid bare by one of Nigeria's most watched prophetic voices, Primate Elijah Ayodele. And in a clip from his Sunday sermon, he warns about the dangers of being disconnected from the people. Let's take a look.
Bishop, is it Archbishop Oyekan, of what he have said to the president? Leave him alone. If you like, let him take it. If you like, don't let him take it. There's anger and hunger in the land. By the election, you see people how they will show their grievances. Rice and money will not stop it too. We are telling you the right thing now, to do the right thing. All these, I will call them surrogate aids. Right? They will push you to fire. Pam! When fire burns you, you will be the only one to cry. Tinubu, if you lose this election, it will pain you seriously.
And Rufai, I'm going to come straight to you on this story because it just feels like the religious leaders are in a lot of ways putting words to what a lot of people are feeling, but they don't necessarily have access to the president. So, you know, people are really rallying around what they're saying.
No, but what they are saying is getting to the president. I mean, Dr. Bati served in the villa. He can tell us sum total of media exposures and media talk and things is always submitted to the president. So there's no how the president of the country will not know about all of these things. He knows. He knows. But you see, the thing about him is, it's about the ideas. He thinks this is the best thing possible. But there's also another way to doing things. So, public opinion and public backlash. It's not that he's not aware, people are not saying it. On the three last interventions of the president, especially when he spoke to the Catholic bishops, and he also spoke to the Oyo State traditional rulers, he pretty much reacted to what was aggregated public opinion against him. So if you look at the president these days, he's using most of these meetings he's having to respond to aggregated public opinion against him. That's an indication that he knows. So all of the talk that, they are shielding him, is not aware. He's aware. And he's aware that people are suffering and all of that. That's why anytime he comes out, he tries to justify and advance his own narrative. But you see, there's a difference in which you can announce or advance your own narrative. And the question is your narrative landing? Largely, his narrative is not landing. Because the reforms he's saying he's doing is not permeating through the people that are suffering all of this. So when he says, we pulled out subsidy, we made savings and all of that, yes. When they say, we have reserves and all of that, yes. But that narrative is not landing because people are seeing hunger, poverty, deprivation, hopelessness, insecurity, killings. I mean, we talked about Sokoto the other day, just now. So that's just it. So what is happening in the spaces is a coalition of narratives. And that's why, how many people does he have in his media desk? About 10, 15 of them, or how many of them? Quite a lot of them, about 12 of them. And my brother, Tim Tokwe Ajayi, Egbobi, Bayon Onuga, my brother, Otega Ogra, a couple of people there. What are they doing there? To be able to shape narrative, but it's now narrative colliding with narrative. And it depends on the one that is landing with the people. And he also has a retinue of supporters amplifying this narrative. So that's just it. I don't think he's not aware of what's going on.
Abati, I'll take your comments all together with the next few stories, because we also have some breaking news just this morning from Osun State, with the governor, Ademola Adeleke, now alleging that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission is planning to freeze the state's bank accounts and those of top government officials ahead of August 15, that highly watched, highly anticipated governorship election. In a statement, Adeleke said that this alleged move would amount to lawlessness and was aimed at bringing government activities to a standstill before the polls. The governor also maintained that there is no legal reason for freezing these accounts. The anti-graft agency, the EFCC, has yet to publicly respond to the allegation. And as we continue this 2027 watch across the country, let's head to Oyo State, where the African Democratic Congress governorship candidate Taofiq Adegoke is causing a bit of a stir online after he was filmed buying some boiled corn by the road. This clip is going viral and people have opinions. Let's take a look. And Dr. Abati, as candidates push to connect with their constituents, let's quickly head over to Kano State, where the chairman of Kura local government area, Honorable Rabiu Abubakar Suleiman, reportedly built concrete steps, yes, a staircase, on a road median divider along the Kano-Zaria highway. Apparently, these stairs were built to make it easier for pedestrians to cross especially women, mothers, and older people. Of course, the project has drawn mixed reactions online, with some questioning the safety around this. And then you also have a human rights lawyer, Abba Hikima, even calling on Federal Road Safety Corps to intervene. Dr. Abati, legally, how was this allowed? And I know there were a lot of stories, but they all essentially tie into different candidates trying to connect with the people, whether it's with corn, with staircases. I mean, what are we supposed to make of all of this?
Okay, let's start with the chairman of Kura local government creating staircases on that road looks like a highway, right? Now, from safety considerations, I think what he has done is absolutely illiterate, because if his consideration is to make it easy for the people to cross the road, what we know as the standard is a pedestrian crossing. So instead of doing pedestrian crossing, by doing those steps, it's more or less encouraging the people to cross the road on foot and expose themselves to danger. I think it should be advised, post-haste, immediately, that he should remove those steps. If he wants to help the people in his local government, what he should provide is a pedestrian crossing, because that is what is established as the standard that will provide the necessary safety for them, not allowing them to contest with fast-moving vehicles and losing their lives in the process. So that's a no-brainer. As for the candidate of the ADC in Oyo State, who has been adopting the time-worn old method of buying roasted corn or boiled corn by the roadside called agbado, he is behind the times. Is he not aware that we have moved from agbado to akara and kulikuli? So if he was buying akara and kulikuli now, we will know that he's abreast of latest developments in that particular method adopted by politicians. But of course, it's not the histrionics that politicians put up that we need. What we need is their commitment, their sincerity, and their readiness to serve the people, and to show that they are here for service, not to demonstrate that they are identifying the people by this, schoolboy gestures that they usually put up at election time. As for Governor Adeleke saying that there's an attempt to freeze government accounts and also freeze the accounts of government officials, well, that should be investigated, because it looks like an allegation at this time. But even if it is true, then of course it is wrong, because it will be an act of intimidation. It will be an attempt to wrong-foot the opposition. And we have always said that you cannot use federal might to restrict or constrict or frustrate the opposition, and that in this electoral process there must be a level playing field. I'm trying to rush because you have about 5 or 6 topics lumped into one.
Yes.
And to speak about Professor Obiora,